Wanted to give you all a little bit of a recipe today for playing lounge jazz style in a little bit of a simple way for beginners. And so it's going to sound something like this. All right, so that bit of lounge jazz style, it's a little more advanced than the first tutorial, but this is a sort of level 2 beginner where you get a little bit more. I'm going to show you this recipe by breaking it down into ingredients. So first I'll give you ingredients for the left hand, then some ingredients for the right hand, and then we'll put them together. So you want to have a little bit of tricks for improvisation that you can cut, paste, and apply. You can reuse them, and these are the ingredients that you can use as much or little as you want. Basically, with improvisation and playing lounge jazz piano, basically forever, like background type of music, you want to have a bunch of tools that you can use all together and use them at your disposal whenever you feel like it. So you follow how the feel of the music. So I'm going to give you those ingredients for the left hand first, then the right hand, and then you'll see how to put them together. So the first one is, it's going to be a chord progression that you'll need to know. There's actually a couple ones that we'll focus on here. The first chord progression is 4, 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. That sounds complicated, but I'll show you why it's very simple in a minute. And we're talking about the key of C here. So the root note of the chord is going to, I'll point out, I'll just press them right now. 4 is the fourth note in the key of C, is F, and then 7th is B, E, A, D, G, C. You actually don't even really need to remember that, because we're going to show you how to progress through that chord progression with just 2 simple steps. So it starts on F. This is F major 7. From the first video, hopefully you know what a major 7th chord is. Basically just every other note for F major, every other note with that 7th note added in here. And then what you can do is bring your 2 top fingers down, your thumb and your index finger, and that turns this into B diminished 7th, which is 7th note. B is the 7th note in the key of C. So this is going to be the root note of this chord right here. Then we're going to bring our bottom 2 fingers down, and we progress to an E minor 7th chord. And the root is the pinky again. So the root was the pinky, then the root was the index finger, then we bring the 2 fingers down, and the root was the pinky again, and you just repeat that. So this is 3, and then go to 6 in the key of C, which is that. The root is the index finger again. See how it's sounding? And you move the bottom 2 fingers down, and the root is the D. So in D minor 7. Now the root jump back up to my index finger. Whenever I move my hand like this, when my hand is in this position, I'm thinking the root note of the chord is on my index finger. So that's going to come into play later when you're putting in the right hand. So then from 5 it went to 1. So this is the 5th and then the 1st in C major 7. And you'll hit that twice. So just with those 2 movements, start here, F major 7, move the top 2 down, bottom 2 down, top 2 down. See how it sounds jazzy already? Bottom 2 down. And then you do that twice for C major 7. And then just go back. Okay, that's the first ingredient. Okay, you want to practice that, and you really want to get that ingrained. Practice that over a period of a few weeks, maybe a little bit every day. I mean, if you have a good hand independence already as a beginner, then you'll be able to improvise on your right hand without thinking about it too much, maybe just a little bit of practice, but it might take a little while to get used to that. Okay, that's the first ingredient. The second ingredient is a 4-2-5-1 in the key of C. This is familiar from the first video. 4, 2, 5, 1. Keep that in mind, because when we do this one, we're going to focus on playing it always with the pinky in the root position. And we'll play it as double strides. You learned the stride in the last video. 4, 2, 5. Practice that. So the stride may take a little bit of practice for beginners, but if you can get that steady beat, do it twice. So you're going from the root at every chord, the F, D, G, C. So 4, 2, 5, 1. Double strides. Hold the sustain pedal, then lift up. Hold the sustain pedal for the next chord. G7. Okay, so that's the second ingredient, okay, is double strides. You learned strides in the first video, like this, with the same chord progression. Now, the third ingredient is easier. It's similar to that, but instead of striding, you can actually, if you're not comfortable with those strides, you can do this. You really want that beat though. Okay, so 4, 2, 5. Okay, so you hit your pinky first, then that. Okay, fourth and last ingredient for the left hand. Okay, so work on those 3 ingredients. Here's the other one. You want to alternate here and there between using the 1, 2, 3, 4 beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or holding it. And you really want to feel that flow though. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So play around with either holding for the beats or hitting the beats, but try to keep it on beat and either do the strides or the pinky and then fill out the chord with the second beat. So you're kind of simulating, it's an easier stride almost. Okay, so those are the ingredients. That's what you'll be doing in your left hand the whole time, and it's really up to you whether you want to go back to this. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. You could use the same trick. Use what sounds good. You could do this. 1, 2, 1, 2. Or you can just hold it. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And change it up. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 2. Okay, we'll get into that bringing in more later with the right hand. But focus on working on those ingredients on your left hand. And once those are unconscious, improvising on your right hand will be a lot easier. But you hear how it's already starting to sound jazzy, okay, with those 4 ingredients. Okay, so the first ingredient for your right hand is aim for the chord notes that you're on generally. You can go outside of them a little bit, but try to start or land generally. Doesn't mean every time, but generally on the notes of the chord. You know which chord you're on. So if I'm on F major 7 here, I want to mainly focus, however I'm playing, if I'm playing octaves or individual notes, if I'm playing high or low on the keyboard. See, this turned to B diminished 7. And then this is going to be A minor, D minor 7. Aim for, you need to know the chord that you're on. When you're doing this one, say F, B. I'm not saying the whole chord name, I'm just saying the note. I'm just saying what the root of the note is, E. So in your brain, you could say, it's E. These are my free notes that I can play with, is generally the E minor 7 notes. If you know your chords, you got to think about them as you're playing on the fly. I want to aim for those notes mainly. Again, on the index finger, now in this hand position, the root chord is whatever's on my index finger, which is A minor 7, is represented as the 6th, 7th chord in the key of C. So I would aim for, and then it goes, then you'll keep going down. D minor 7th, G. You don't have to play the 7th note up. You just play with any note that's part of the chord, and then finish. See how that sounds good if you land there, because it's in the key of C major. Or you can even land here. See, you can, and that sounds fine ending the phrase like that. This sounds almost like the end of a song here. But if you end here, that something's wrong with that. Okay, doesn't work. End on whatever notes are in the chord that you're on, which is the end of this phrase, C major 7. So that's the first thing. Not all the time, you don't have to, but generally aim for that. Know which chord you're on and play with those notes on your right hand. That'll be the best, really great practice for you. Second is, second ingredient of this recipe is octaves. So play around. I would say a great exercise is, can you play through the notes of the chords that you're on? Know which chord you're on. That's not supposed to sound good, it's just an exercise. Play the notes as octaves of the chord that you're on. F major 7. You can play them backwards if you want. It's kind of, use that octave roll. It sounds nice, that little hit the thumb first and then pinky. Okay, so that's another trick. Use octaves. They're really, really pretty. You can use, so here's the third ingredient. You can use thirds, for example. So it's, you have to know a little more of what you're doing. You can practice, play around with it. I don't use that as much, but some people know how to use it really well, and it sounds nice. But you can play around with it. It's basically just skipping 2 notes skipped by 1, so every other note here, and then you can go up or down with your fingers. You could do that if you want to, even 2 fingers if it's too hard. But I think it's better to practice if you can do thumb, middle finger, and then switch index finger, ring finger, and then ring finger or middle finger and pinky. If you can do that, it's a good exercise to practice thirds. Wait, where am I going here? See, so I would have to know that. I want to go here next. So because I'm on F major 7. And I'm going to B diminished 7th, so I'm going to play this and this, because that's in that chord right there. Okay, so you can use thirds. You can use even, some people call it power chords, where you could have, it's sort of from the root, you can play the 1st and the 5th of that chord, and then go up or down with your melody note. Yeah. Yeah, so just try it. I mean, some of these may sound good to you, some may not sound as good. So just, these are ingredients that you can use. And the key isn't to use everything all at once. It's to find what you like and use it on the fly. So that's why I'm giving you ingredients that you can use, and then put together your own lounge jazz song. Okay, so then the 4th ingredient for the right hand is use phrasing. So that means basically use something that sounds almost like a conversation, where it doesn't just sound random. It needs to have sort of like it's like a conversation between 2 friends. You have a statement and a reply. That's a good trick to use. Now, the next ingredient is on your right hand, for the right hand, is go up or down. So play some notes low. Then high. Okay, so play some notes high, way up. And then low. Okay, next is use arpeggiation, up and down. This is the 6th ingredient for the right hand. So what you can do is put your right hand in the root position of whatever chord you're on. So this is a nice default hand position to use wherever you're at in the chord progression. If you're on F major 7, you can roll it too, that sounds nice. And then just play with those notes. And you can add maybe one note to the end. But you don't want to do it on every one, it'd be too boring. Some of them doesn't sound as good as another one, but see, I'm in that position there. This is a nice default position if you have your hands like this, in where they're in spread out 7th chord position. You really can do a lot and make it sound nice with arpeggiation. So focus on that right hand arpeggiation though. So if I'm going here, you can go up and down too. Back to C. Roll it, put in that 6th note. You can arpeggiate up if you know how to do it. Just keep the beat steady. You don't want to be like, this doesn't work. Just try to keep it steady. Okay, and then last, number 8 ingredient is you can use a little bit of bluesy notes outside of the key. So play around with the black notes. And for example, I think I like to use like the flat 3rd. And the flat 7th. What you would do is just use the slide finger method where you take your finger and don't stay on there. It doesn't sound good if you do this. But if you slide it, wait. Okay, and then go down to somewhere else, or I think it works if you go down too. You can try it. But yeah, just use the slide method to add some bluesy notes. You can try the other notes too, if you want. Play around. There's no right or wrong. Use your ear, what you like to use. Okay, and then I'm basically going to show you how to put these together now, and then we will have a few tips at the end. So, first thing, let's start with the 4, 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. Just go one round of it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, before you start putting in your right hand. 1, 2. It really helps your hand independence if you can do that first round. Then just start adding in your right hand. Aim for the chords that you're on. See, this is G right here, so I can go. and then end on something that's on C major 7. See how it sounded nice? See right there, I ended here. It didn't sound finished, so I went down to C. So that's because the reason why it didn't sound finished is because I'm on A minor 7 and D was not an A minor 7. So then just, you could play around like this for a little while. Go up. Then switch over to either the double strides, the 4-2-5-1. Alternate back and forth between the slow and a little bit more upbeat. And that's a fun way to change it up and not get too boring. So let's do one round. Get that left hand ingrained. And if you want, you can go slower. You don't have to go that fast. Just keep the beat consistent and it'll be okay. Remember the roll. Now let's try this. So what I'm doing is I'm alternating that double stride and then just holding, going a little slower, and that helps you not get too bored. Okay, and so aim for the chord notes. I'm going up and down, trying to use some octaves. Then go back to your 4-7-3-6-2-5-1. Okay, so put those together. Use all the ingredients that you have on your left hand and right hand, put them together in how you would like them. And a couple of last tips. Really, I want to emphasize, number one, 3 tips. Focus on your left hand first. You really have to get that ingrained first to be able to have that at a steady beat, almost without thinking about it, before you add in your right hand. Another tip, you can, if you like the sound of it, you can hold here and you don't need the sustain pedal when you're it's a little bit of a different rather than that's with the sustain pedal. Okay, so you can do that if you'd like. And then tip number 3 is you can use one more beat, what's called the swing beat, if you like it. It's basically just, so tap it and then hold. It's kind kind of a nice beat, and you don't have to use the sustain pedal for that one. You shouldn't actually. So, and then you can use your right hand improvisation as you like. So it's basically just tap, hold, tap, hold. It's called swing. And so, yeah, that's basically it. And one last bonus tip. What's really helped me, this is probably my favorite tip of all, listen to some lounge jazz videos of just ambient. Type in ambient lounge jazz music or cafe jazz or coffee jazz or whatever on YouTube, and then listen to the song for a while, and then go sit down and try to imitate it. Don't try to play the same chord progression, but you can copy melody ideas. Use the chord progressions that you learned here, but copy melody ideas. Copy rhythm, the feel. If it's slow and you really like it, try to stay slow. Maybe the 1, 2, 3, 4 is even slower than it. Maybe it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe they play really high. They're really quiet. So just copy whatever you like. But listen to a bunch of it. Don't just try to do the same thing over and over yourself. Listen to others and try to copy maybe some of the melody ideas or rhythms from other songs. You don't need to know the chord progression necessarily, but you could still take ideas from other songs. And so that has helped me a lot, because when you try to learn other songs, it can be daunting as a beginner if you try to learn it to be exactly like they play it. But you can borrow ideas and then make it your own. So yeah, I hope this helps you go take the next step of your lounge jazz journey, and enjoy.